Hi, I'm Claire Tompkins, the Clutter Coach, and this is the Organize Your Life podcast. I am passionate about organizing because it makes my clients' lives so much easier, more relaxed, and with more time to spend the way they want to. In every podcast in the show, I'll lay out a simple organizing concept, and I'll tell you why it's important. I'll also include an action step at the end so you can start practicing right away. My specialty is chunking down this big topic so it's not overwhelming. That's the concept for this podcast, which is based on my first book, 52 Simple Ways to Get Organized. The book is available on my website and on Amazon. I work with clients in person in the Berkeley, California area and via email and Skype, so you don't have to be local to me. Visit the Hire tab on my website or email me at claire@cluttercoach.net. If you like the show, please rate it and review it. To do that, go to my website, cluttercoach.net, and scroll down for the show notes. Each show notes post has a link to leave a review in iTunes. I would so appreciate that. Okay, on to the podcast. Today I'm talking about simple way number 39, which is called Focus on Today. Focus on now, not on the past. I quoted Teddy Roosevelt back in podcast number 33, and here he is again. Do what you can with what you've got, where you are. It turns out Roosevelt didn't actually say that. He was quoting a friend, a guy named Squire Bill Widener. But it's a great quotation, and no one knows anymore who the squire was, so Roosevelt gets the attribution. What does it mean? To me, it means just get going on your work, even if you don't feel prepared or capable. I've been talking recently about decision-making and taking action. This is another facet of it. Sometimes people are stalled in taking action because they're looking to the past. They don't feel confident about succeeding because they haven't been succeeding. So maybe you've got a lot of clutter and you're embarrassed. It's been a problem for years and you've tried so many things to fix it that haven't worked. Or they've worked for a while and then they stopped working. Looking back at those past failures starts to cement a concept in your mind. You can begin to identify with being a person who can't be organized. Last week I talked about how clutter can weigh you down emotionally. Part of the reason for this is that you identify with it too much. Instead of thinking of yourself as a person who has clutter and wishes to be rid of it, you think that you are a cluttered person. That is a big difference. When I talk with clients who have this issue, I can feel how weighed down by it they are. They feel stuck, and they are stuck. They're mired not only in the clutter, but in their negative feelings about how it got there. How did it happen for you? Maybe your parents never taught you to organize. I've noticed over the years that all the combinations of organized versus disorganized in families can be true. One parent was organized, the other wasn't. They were both disorganized, they were both organized. My client is disorganized, but her brother isn't. Children of disorganized parents have a natural gift for organization, even though it wasn't modeled for them. How does that happen? But really, all the permutations are possible. For those who never learned to be organized, it could be because their parents weren't organized. That makes sense. But it also could be that they were, but they didn't effectively teach organization. In the worst cases, they punished their children who couldn't declutter on their own. You may not now ever reach the so-called perfection of your childhood home, but you can be organized your way, in a way that works for you. Or maybe you grew up with nothing and possessions mean a lot to you. Or your parents did. This is another area where I urge people not to identify too strongly. They can be too quick to attribute their collecting with the suffering during the Great Depression. It's a problem because they relate so much to that story that they get stuck in a kind of survivor mentality. But you don't want to just survive. What you really want to do is thrive. So be careful with those stories from the past. In case you had any doubt that clutter and disorganization was just about the stuff, this should convince you. It's much more about what you think about the stuff, what's behind it, why you have it. So, focus on today. What matters today is that you've decided not to go on having clutter. You are writing a new story that you can live today. You can decide today that you are going to get rid of things and start doing it. It doesn't really matter how you got all that clutter. Perhaps you have regrets about plans you didn't pursue, things you didn't say. We all do. Ask instead, is there a behavior you'd like to change? Are there new habits you want to develop? Dwell on those regrets only long enough to learn the lesson. Then move on, move forward. Of course, I know it's not that simple. What I'm urging here is that you examine your stories and see which ones may be doing you more harm than good. Last week, I also talked about having compassion for yourself during this. Bring that in too. So what can you do right now? First, stand up and shake it off. Take a deep breath. Do what you can to bring yourself here to the present, where you can take positive action today. Hey, thanks for listening. I'm Claire Tompkins, the Clutter Coach. If you like the show, I'd love it if you'd leave a rating and review in iTunes. You can subscribe, too, so the podcast will be ready and waiting for you to listen to. You'll find the show notes on my blog at www.cluttercoach.net, and you can check out my store to find books I've written and a whole bunch of other stuff. If you're a fan of the show, you can become a patron on patreon.com for as little as $1 a month. You can find my page by going to the Patreon website, that's Patreon, and searching on Clutter Coach. I'll still post the podcast free of charge, but I've got some cool rewards for folks who want to help me make the show even better. Come back next week for a new podcast.